Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here with another episode of Total Breakdown. Today we're going to see the Vampire Counts of Rightest take on the Tomb Kings of Sentencia in a battle from the Down Under Cup organized by ShetlandApache. Just a quick note that if you really want to see Total Breakdown make a full-on comeback, the best thing you can do is leave a like and a comment down below and maybe share the video around. I'm really looking at the numbers right now to get an understanding of interest levels, so it does make a very big difference. Now with all that said and done, there's no time to waste, so let's begin. And we begin, of course, with talk of composition and deployment. An interesting thing to note for this battle is that there is no invocation of Nehek. Keep that in mind as we take a look at the Vampire Counts. We have Manfred von Karstein in charge up in the air, and his front line consists of the Skeleton Warriors as well as the Königstein Stalkers. Right behind them, we have the Grave Guard on either side, and in the middle here, the Sternsmen, Grave Guard Regiment of Renown, and then the flanks consist of the Skeleton Spearmen, while to the back we also have a pair of Skeleton Spearmen. In the middle here, we've got two Vargulfs, and they have armor-piercing damage, and they can do a lot of hurt, and we also have the Corpse Cart with Unholy Lodestone, hoping to make up for the lack of Invocation of Nehek with the regenerative capability in the area around it, and also able to provide assistance to troops fighting in melee nearby. Up front over here, you can see we've got some Black Knights to the left and to the right, and then the Dire Pack all the way up over here as well. Anti-large, able to intercept enemy, perhaps horseback archers and things like that to shut them down. A good pick, also able to flank the enemy with relative ease. And on the other side of the field, the Tomb Kings are being led by none other than Cetra the Imperishable atop his chariot. The front line over here consists of these Tomb Guard with halberds, so they will be able to hold the line quite effectively, and the Skeleton Spearmen off to this right side over here, with some more Skeleton Spearmen bringing up the rear. In the middle, you can see a pair of Skeleton Warriors, and you can also see 3 units of Ushabti with Greatbow, one of them being the Chosen of the Gods Ushabti with Greatbow Regiment of Renown. We also have a Tomb Scorpion on the field, lots of armor-piercing, anti-infantry damage coming out of that, so it will be a very interesting matchup. Let's see how it all breaks down as the Vampire Counts, of course, have to push forward without any range capabilities. They need to line up and move in as quickly as possible, because otherwise the Ushabti with Greatbow will act as artillery and start firing away. And on that topic, take a look at Manfred over here, very nicely paying some great attention to detail and dodging all of these shots from the Ushabti, and the micromanagement there was just beautiful. No damage taken, moving in close to Cetra the Imperishable and getting that Spirit Leech off before pulling back into safety. Very nicely done. And you can see back here the rest of the Vampire Count army continues to push forward as these Black Knights take a couple of shots from range over there. Again, the Ushabti with Greatbow act as artillery pieces basically, so doing a little bit of damage here, not dropping any models, so not the worst case scenario for those Black Knights. Now you can see Manfred again kind of looping back, doesn't want to pull back too far. I think he wants to get another Spirit Leech out, but you can see the focus has been shifted to the Sternsmen now as all of those Ushabti with Greatbow fire away, try to get some damage done over here. These guys, of course, are able to regenerate the lost health, but if they're able to reduce the regen cap, cause that damage, and force that regen cap to drop, that can make a very big difference on the Sternsmen back there. Meanwhile, you can see Manfred again just pushing out, maybe trying to bait some shots over here, sees that opportunity, drops another Spirit Leech, and then continues behind enemy lines as the Dire Pack pulls in from behind as well. And you can see the Black Knights actually have pushed off very far and wide, hoping to come in from the sides and maybe split those halberds and spears around. There are a lot of halberds and spears on the field, and you can see those Ushabti with Greatbow continue to fire away, hoping to just maybe eliminate a unit or maybe at least cause enough damage to cause some trouble. Focus shifting now onto these Skeleton Warriors over here, whose shields are probably not doing too much for them, and this Tomb Scorpion as well, just casually moving in, getting a couple snips in there, doing a fair bit of damage. But you can see immediately these Vargulfs back here respond. They're pushing in towards that Tomb Scorpion, and the Tomb Scorpion needs to turn around and pull back. You can see playing it a little casually there, and then realizing the situation, panicking as these Vargulfs start to beat on the back of that Tomb Scorpion, delivering a lot of pain. You can see Manfred also dives in to try and intercept and slow that Tomb Scorpion's retreat down, but ultimately the Tomb Scorpion is able to get out, but it does get Neru's Incantation of Protection on a bit of a waste there as the Vargulfs disengage, and so too does Manfred. And you can see Manfred, I think, now being focused down on by some of those Ushabti with Greatbow, takes to the air and starts dodging again as the Königstein Stalkers move in with a charge. And back here you can see we actually had some Skeleton Warriors brought into the field by Manfred earlier. They're just bogging down some of these units and making sure that they're not able to move freely. And on the topic of not moving freely, for some reason these Skeleton Spearmen were a little slow on the draw there. They're trying to form up, trying to prevent this charge coming in from these Black Knights on the side over here. Of course, the Tomb Guard with halberds aren't able to pull back as the Königstein Stalkers are getting their charges in as well, and these Black Knights just hoping to get through this gap and into the Ushabti with Greatbow and just prevent them from firing away. So take a look at that beautiful charge, that glorious charge, diving right into the Ushabti there, making sure they're not able to fire. The Tomb Scorpion, meanwhile, over here, diving through the front lines into the Sternsmen over here trying to get some damage done, beautifully done. And the Vargulfs over here not really giving a damn about the front line, moving right through into these Ushabti with great bow. So beautifully done. They're trying to shut down all of that range support as quickly as possible. Well, over here you can see the Black Knights are moving in as well, but very wisely deciding that they are stuck between a rock and a hard place, as there are skeleton spearmen as well as tomb guard with halberds as well. So deciding that maybe this is not the place to die all over again, looping back and just beating the retreat, trying to get out in that very quickly slimming gap. But take a look at that. Excellent timing over here, able to actually pull back, taking minimal damage over there, as another unit of skeleton warriors do get brought up to the field by Manfred von Karstein, just trying to, again, cause that disruption back there, as these Ushabti with great bow get some assistance from Jeff's incantation of Cursed Blades. But you can see very quickly the Vargulfs disengage and dive in on the Chosen of the Gods, but they get help from Nero's Incantation of Protection, as over here, Cetra finds himself surrounded by a couple of units. The Tomb Scorpion is there, but we do have the Vargulfs coming in to cause some damage right into Cetra there, as Manfred dives in as well. This Vargulf back there might want to push in as well, but Cetra, you can see, disengages and pulls back over here, diving into the Black Knights, who are not having a good time. And over here you can see we've got the Chosen of the Gods closing the gap, I think, towards Manfred von Karstein, hoping to finish him off, but in comes Van Hels, Danse Macabre, helping the front lines as much as possible as these Black Knights pull back into safety. You can see the tide is almost certainly going to turn, as these Tomb Guard with halberds have such a great melee defense stat that Danse Macabre is going to help with the melee attack buff. It's not a lot, but it does pull these guys up to about, 40 to 49, as you can see, so it will make something of a difference. As over here you can see these skeleton spearmen from the Tomb Kings were giving chase to the Black Knights, able to close the gaps, but we do have these the skeleton spearmen and the grave guard from the Vampire Counts intercepting and trying to cut down those skeleton spearmen of the Tomb Kings. And meanwhile, back over here you can see the Vargulfs are still giving hot pursuit now to this Tomb Scorpion, again diving in quite beautifully right onto that tail. That's gotta hurt if that Tomb Scorpion can even feel pain. And at the same time we actually get some regenerative capabilities from the Tomb Kings, the Realm of Souls kicking in there, trying to keep these guys alive and fighting, as the Vargulf over there pushes through some of these skeleton spearmen, I think chasing after Cetra still. Cetra turns around and goes right into that Vargulf, tries to push past that Vargulf. As over here we get a beautiful charge from that Tomb Scorpion, diving right across the front line, tossing back so many Grave Guard there. Beautifully done, excellent angling, and obviously just got fortunate with the move that the Tomb Scorpion decided to pull there. Did a lot of hurt, and you can see we have a huge clump of Vampire Count units over here, which is not working out in favor of the Vampire Counts, just not getting as much damage per second out as they could have, as this Tomb Scorpion as well gets help with the Juff's Incantation of Cursed Blades, increasing the damage output and the armor-piercing damage as well. So beautifully done over there, as the Unholy Lodestone finally arrives in the area, providing those various types of assistances in that frontline engagement, especially in the middle here where you can see the Sternsmen as well as these Skeleton Warriors are having a terrible time. Manfred, meanwhile, you can see flying into the Tomb Scorpion over here, trying to hold it in place maybe, but eating a lot of damage, just trying to, I think, again, pin Cetra and the Tomb Scorpion in place right now. Cetra, though, is the focus of all of these units. Two Vargulfs as well as Manfred. Spirit Leech down on Cetra. It is over now, but Cetra is just able to snake by and get out of there, as back over here you can see we've got these Dire Wolves diving in to the Ushabti with Great Bow, and we also have these Black Knights over here moving in at the same time. So Cetra is pulling his escape maneuver as this beautiful piece of micromanagement is going on. The Ushabti with Great Bow are, well, they'll be fine, but they're certainly not going to be able to fire away anymore as those charges come through. So very cleverly done by the Vampire Counts there, and you can see Cetra again just continuing to push through, trying to get some damage done through his chariot as he pulls away, but Manfred looking for an opportunity to dive in. The Vargulfs as well not giving up on the chase at all. They want to finish Cetra the Imperishable off. That will be a huge blow for the Tomb Kings. And back here you can see that Tomb Scorpion is doing very well, focusing now on the Corpse Guard, trying to take care of that support unit, as back over here you can see once again Manfred trying to dive in to Cetra over there, using Master of the Black Guards to try and get some more magic out, and you can see in comes that Spirit Leech as Cetra actually dives through the Vampire Count front line over here, gets in fairly deep, but actually gets stuck in now against spears, and two of those Vargulfs coming from behind. Cetra once more in a dire situation over here. He is fully surrounded by dangerous units. His health is dropping, his morale is very low, and he might actually perish over here, as off on the left flank you can see we do have some aggression coming in as well. A bit of a flanking maneuver. These Vargulfs, though, are the men of the hour, so to speak, as Cetra the Imperishable dropping in health further and further. He might actually die, and in just a moment's time perhaps Cetra the Imperishable does fall. But at the same time we do get these Ushabti out on the field thanks to the Realm of Souls coming in for the third time and regenerating the health of some of these units, but also of course unlocking that Ushabti summon. You can see the Ushabti very quickly taking a lot of damage from this Vargulf, but the Ushabti will be able to do a lot of work to the bunch of units over here from the Vampire Counts. And back over here meanwhile you're going to see a little bit of summoning going on as these zombies get brought in by Manfred. Very nicely done, again holding down the Ushabti with Great Bow, making sure they're not able to fire away, as over here These Tomb Guard with halberds are now surrounded by skeleton spearmen on either side, and here you can see the Vargulfs as well pushing through, I think chasing after the Ushabti with Great Bow, just trying to finish all of those high tier units off, as back here the Tomb Scorpion continues to focus on that corpse cart again, trying to eliminate the support, pushing through some of these these grave guards, and just getting that hurt out, spreading the love a little bit, but is that going to be enough, as there are spears in the area, and of course that corpse cart is providing some assistance to all of these units, but you can see the Ushabti over here actually very close to falling apart. They are very low on health, and of course they have been summoned, so they will slowly die away as well, and they are starting to drop now as their time is almost up in the mortal realm. Down go all of these Ushabti. So a good attempt there at eliminating the front lines. They did do a fair bit of damage, these Ushabti. You can see 35 kills, but ultimately they do of course fall apart, as back here these Vargulfs continue to cause a fair bit of damage to various units back here. The Chosen of the Gods forced back, only 16 kills to their name despite the amount of resources spent there, and back here you can see we actually get the Black Knights just doing a little love tap, I think, into the Tomb Guards with halberds, and then realizing they've got halberds and pulling back into safety instead, as the Vargulf over here now decides to push into the Tomb Scorpion. And look at that corpse cart, still at full health, very nicely managed there, very nicely kept safe despite being a very slow unit, and that Tomb Scorpion now in a terrible spot. The Tomb Guard with halberds though trying to close the gap into the Vargulf, but you can see we do have some units now crumbling away, disintegrating away. In fact, the Skeleton Spearman front line is going to fall apart. These Tomb Guard with halberds as well, very close to falling apart, as that Tomb Scorpion tries to get another charge back in here, goes into Manfred. I think Manfred needs to take to the air. He is low on health and morale, so a dangerous spot for him, but take a look at this. He's going to bring in some more support troops, of course, as we get some more zombies on the field. I think just trying to hold that Tomb Scorpion in place. Manfred von Karstein, though, very low on health. He needs to pull back, tries to do exactly that, tries to take to the air. The Tomb Scorpion not able to do anything, and just barely surviving Manfred there, as the rest of the Tomb Kings disintegrate away, giving the Vampire Counts a glorious, but most certainly Pyrrhic victory. With no incantation of Nehek on the field to provide regenerative capabilities for either side, this battle had both sides relying on alternative approaches to staying alive. Unintended. The Unholy Lodestone did its work, holding the line where needed, and the incantation of protection was very well used on the other side, while the Realm of Souls definitely gave the Tomb Kings slightly higher survivability. Rightest was able to find the gaps, however, and was quickly able to shut down the great deal of resources that were spent on the Ushabti with Great Bow and their Regiment of Renown, and once the Vargulfs were free to dance around as they pleased, the Tomb Kings crumbled with ease. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep sending in those battle replays. I do think it's one of the best ways to learn, and it's always nice to highlight these amazing battles from the community. I'd also like to thank all of my patrons and channel members for supporting the channel on a monthly basis, keeping us alive and running smoothly, and I'd like to thank you for watching. I'll see you on the battlefield.